session at the university. The focus of my talk this evening is going to be on creating value. The theme is creating value. Why a service and value addition mindset is key to career growth. I wanted to share with the students a few thoughts on the subject of career growth and what are some of the keys that they ought to be thinking about. I want to share with you 9 keys that will be critical to your career growth, and which for me, if I take my mind back to when I was a university student many years ago, that have been critical to my own career growth, and not just career growth, but career growth that results in impact to society. Now, going quickly, because of time, the first key is to be centered in God. Not many of you, not all of you may be Christians, but some of you are. And even if you're not, I have found being centered in God as value has resulted in me having impact in what I have done. In the book of Daniel, verse 11, chapter 11, verse 32, the people who know their God shall be strong and do exploits. For me, this has served me well. Every morning when I wake up, I start my day with prayer. And every day when I go to sleep, I end my day with prayer and thanksgiving, because I found that that guidance leads you to having a wisdom. Is somebody saying there's no sound? I'm seeing some messages. There's no sound.
Chancellor said that those were earlier messages.
Those are earlier messages, okay. So I have found that to be very, very useful. And even when solving technical issues and technical problems, there's a lot of room for inspiration, where God gives you inspiration and ideas that you'd otherwise not have gotten on your own. And this has addressed many challenges. Also issues around favor, where you're able to get favor with men, favor that you'd otherwise not have had. That has also been very, very critical. The second key is you need to believe in yourself. You know, in the world we are in today, in the world of social media, there is a temptation, one, to want to be who you are not, to want to ape and emulate other people that you see on social media, to admire other people, which is not bad. But when it results in feelings of inferiority complex, feelings of inadequacy, then it is not helpful. What has served me, and I'm speaking to you, what has served me is that self-confidence and that self-belief, and that belief that you have value and dignity is very, very important. That belief that your voice counts, that you are unique, and that there's value in bringing your uniqueness to the table. That is very, very critical, because you cannot really add value anywhere if you are not confident or sure of who you are. So if you can spend some time every day just reinforcing your own confidence and your own value in who you are, and being comfortable in who you are, and even if you meet people who you perceive that they are better off than you, always remember that you've been created in God's image. God has called you by his own name, and it does not matter what background you have, what challenges you've had growing up, that there are people who are doing better than you in class. Remember that God has put you on this earth for a special purpose that is unique to you, and that cannot be achieved if you're not yourself. And sometimes you end up doing things that you would not otherwise have done because you're seeking affirmation. That for me has been very critical, to always reflect What is it that is in me that is unique about me, and being myself in all situations, in all circumstances, and regardless of the company I have. So I think for me, I found believing in yourself and believing that you have value to offer is something that has been critical in my journey, and I believe maybe would be critical in the journey of all of you as you progress in your professional growth. The third key is pursuing excellence by first managing yourself. Before you can lead others, you must first be able to lead yourself. Self-management. You cannot be a leader of others if you're not able to first lead yourself. And there's a book I would like to recommend that you find time and read, and which has been very useful to me. And this is the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Steve Covey. And it sets out a number of things there. First, it's critical to work on your private victory. You attract who you are, and you need to constantly work on your mind. And there are several habits that are critical in self-mastery and self-excellence. One is the habit of being proactive. Thinking about situations and first saying, I am responsible for what happens and what does not happen to me, and therefore taking initiative so that you're not a victim of your own life, you are not an extra in your life, but acknowledging that you are responsible for your life. So it's not so much what happens to you that matters. It is more what your reaction is, and remaining very much within your circle of influence. There's a difference between your circle of influence and your circle of concern. Your circle of concern are the things that concern you. These might be the economy, the university, the exams. These are things that concern you. Your circle of influence are what you can do, the things that you have some control over. That is your circle of influence. And this is what you really need to think about, because you'll wake up in the morning and something will happen that you had not expected. You will suffer a setback. Don't dwell too much on those setbacks. Always ask yourself, what is the opportunity? What can I do? So in all that you do, I encourage you to first focus on self-mastery. I developed a habit many years ago where I keep a journal. And in the journal, I put down, I wake up, my daily routine is to start off with a prayer for about 10 minutes and then to do my journal. And in the journal, I have reflections of what it is that I wanted to achieve, what it is I've achieved, what is it I'm grateful for, what is it that I need to work on a bit better. And the journal always helps me. Those 10 or 15 minutes I spend journaling always help me in centering myself. I'll move on to the 4th key. You cannot succeed on your own. You need others to succeed. And the 4th key is build strong relationships by mastering the art of influence. You can only succeed by being able to influence other people and understanding what it takes to influence other people. There's a book I read again many years ago, and I have read and reread it many times. And it is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I'll just repeat that in case you did not get it. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It may be available in the university library. The most critical thing in dealing with people is to see things from their perspective. People are naturally self-centered, and if you express your needs from your perspective, you're unlikely to capture the attention of the other person. People respond from the perspective of their own self-interest. So if you can take time to understand what the self-interest of the people you're dealing with is, how you can frame your request from the perspective of how they can fulfill their self-interest. And the word people love the most is their name. If you're able to address people by name from the perspective of addressing their self-interest, and then crafting your own interest within solving their problem, you'll always have the attention people. For example, and I'll come to this later, you're seeking an attachment. And I see many people who send me attachment requests, and they will frame the need from their own perspective. I need this attachment. I have X number of months to get the attachment. If I don't start my attachment on time, I won't graduate. Those are your issues. But the person you are addressing the request to needs to understand how them attaching you will help them. So you need to frame it from the perspective that, yes, I'm a third-year student at Machakos University of fourth year. I have a good skill set, and I have some time over the next 3 months when I can come and work in your company. And these are the areas where I will add value in your company. Now, when you're having that kind of conversation, people will be more receptive to what it is that you have to say, as opposed to an entitlement mindset where you're speaking about your needs. And the reason I say I want to take back and address these particular keys is because if you practice them at this age, these will become your habits. And habits take time to form, and you want to develop the right habits and deliberately cultivate those right habits so that they serve you for the long term. So if I take a step back, habit 1 is put God first. Whether you're a Muslim, a Christian, a Hindu, a Buddhist, in whatever you do, be centered in God. Habit 2, believe your value and always be yourself. Don't compromise who you are. Habit 3 is pursue excellence by continuously managing yourself. Self-management. Dress the part, look the part, speak the part, be proactive, put first things first, be clear what your priorities are, write them down, and focus on what is important. The 4th habit is what I've mentioned. Work on cultivating your skill of influence. Influence is a skill, and God blesses people through men and women. That is the root for your blessings, and you need to be able to access it through this tool called influence. And people have behaved in a certain manner since time immemorial. There are many laws around people, and I encourage you to find time to understand it. For example, communication. You need to understand who to speak to, who to speak at, who to speak with. Speak with means you're not giving directions, you are negotiating. who to speak for when you are speaking on behalf of people and when to speak for, and who to speak through. There are things that may need to be said, but they should not necessarily be said by you. These are all critical soft skills that are very important in building the habits that will make you successful in your career. Now, once you've mastered, you can manage self. You've put God first. You have worked on your self-management. You have worked on your dealing with other people. You have faith in yourself. The fifth issue is your attitude. Attitude is everything. And attitude is the lens through which you experience the world. Attitude is what helps you see something as either positive or negative. You know, in this world, everything is floating around. The good, the bad, and the ugly. It is all there. But we get what we seek. So if you go into a situation with a positive attitude, you know, today we're trying to log in. It took us the better part of 45 minutes to start this meeting. It is possible for one to get worked up, all annoyed, all angry, and you cancel the meeting. That's a function of attitude. You can look at the situation and say, now, next time I've learned a lesson, I will do this differently. That's an attitude. Your lecturer can be late to come to class or fail to come to class. One person can complain. Another person can take advantage of that opportunity to do some study. That is attitude. And the key traits for a winning attitude, I just want to mention a few. One of the most critical one is positivity. Choosing to see opportunities even in challenges. When you are positive, you can be resilient. When you are negative, it is very hard to be resilient and it is easy to give up. And in life, unlike study, things take time. You know, when you are studying as a student, you're finishing, you're progressing from one step to another every semester. So you're making tangible progress. But in real life, you might find that you've been working on something for a long time and it appears that you're not making any progress. What keeps you going is your positivity. When you're pessimistic, you are unlikely to have the energy to continue to go. The second key trait is proactiveness. This is the habit of taking initiative. Taking initiative means that you are speaking in the language of action. I'm going to do, or I did, or I called, or I have acted upon. The opposite of somebody who is proactive is somebody who says, I'm waiting to be advised. Please advise. I was told. When you're not proactive, things happen to you. I was informed. I understand. I will be told. We had this problem. That is the opposite. Proactiveness means that you can move things forward. So if you circle back to one of the things I spoke about, if you focus on your circle of influence and in every situation say, what can I do about this situation? And then see it positively and therefore see the opportunity in the situation. And then that now be proactive so that you take action, then you start making progress. The third one is problem solving. Anyone can complain, and many people complain. Many people are good at pointing out what the problem is. Some people will say this webinar was not good. There was this problem. It started late. We couldn't log in. But fewer people are able to solve the problem or at least come with solutions. And what you'll find is that in a room or in society, the people who actually come to the table with solutions are less than 1%. So if you have a room of 1,000 people and you're discussing an issue, majority, 90%, 99% are more comfortable discussing the problem and expounding on it. Only about a handful are comfortable discussing the different possible solutions to the problem. And it is these people who then get the opportunities to go and implement those solutions that they are discussing. So that ability to solve a problem is a critical habit that should be cultivated every day. The fourth one is promptness. Promptness is as opposed to procrastination. So you can be positive, you can be proactive, you can have a problem-solving orientation, but if you procrastinate, either on account of perfectionism, on account of excuses, then all your good ideas don't matter because there's no implementation. So that promptness of action, so that you fail forward. If you fail, then you've learned a better way of doing it. Again, is critical to success. So work on your attitude, and your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. That's what Zig Ziglar said. Your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. So you may graduate from this university with a first class honors, you have a very high aptitude, but the gearbox of how far you will go is your attitude and not your aptitude. Your attitude on these particular issues. I remember when I first joined the workforce, and I've given this story before, and forgive me if you've heard it before. I was a graduate of the University of Nairobi with a bachelor's degree in law. And in addition to that, I had, when I was in first year, I had completed the CPA exam. So I was a CPA finalist, and I'd also pursued a second accounting qualification, which is a CIMA qualification. So I had a bachelor's of law degree, and I was holding 2 accounting qualifications at the age of 23 years. And when I started working, I thought I would start with significant responsibilities on account of the fact that I had a law degree and 2 accounting qualifications. I was put to work in the filing room as a filing clerk. And it is possible for one to be discouraged. Yes, you have the aptitude, but now this is where the attitude comes in. So when I started as a filing clerk, I then said, okay, with all my education, I'm now here filing. Then I said, what are the 2 things, the 2 positive things about being in the filing room? And I said, one, I can read the files and understand how an investment company functions. Maybe one day, when I have my own wealth and a portfolio of my own, this will be helpful. But also 2, I can improve the filing system. I remember even visiting the Kenya National Archives to understand how they are doing their filing system. And I said, look, we're going to have the best filing system in our company. And out of reading these files, one day, the CEO at the time administered a quiz on the staff on their knowledge of the company. But because I'd been reading the files, I had the highest score. And that's how I got a job. So there had been many people who had been offered internships before, but they had not necessarily transitioned to getting a job. And it is not that they were not qualified, but that was a question of attitude. The attitude of how you treat any opportunity, how you deal with challenges is what will make a difference in your life. So a strong attitude is what builds trust, is what builds resilience, is what builds influence. So if I again recap, I have captured so far 5 keys, which I think, and I believe, I don't just think, I believe that they are critical to a transformative and impactful and even happy life. The first one that I mentioned is to be centered in God. The second one is to believe your value and to be yourself. The third one is to pursue excellence by first managing yourself. The fourth one is to work on building strong relationships by mastering the art of influence and understanding what needs to be done to maintain influence. The fifth one is to work on your attitude. Your attitude is everything. So we've captured 5 keys, but those are not sufficient in themselves. You can have all those 5 and still not succeed. The sixth one is to pursue mastery in your field. Mastery means that whatever field of endeavor you choose, whether you've chosen to be in agriculture, in IT, in business, you're a teacher, you're a lecturer, you're in research, you really want to be a master of your craft. You want to contend for dominion over your craft. You want to really understand it deeply. You want to be an expert. You want to be deeply immersed in your craft. You don't want to be a part-timer in your craft. You want to be really understand it. And for you to really understand it, what I found is that you need to enjoy what you do. I recall when I was a student, I really wanted to be in finance, and I would spend hours in the library reading different books about finance, about business, about management. And I really wanted to be, I was very curious. I would do research. This is beyond what the coursework that you've been given in class is because this sometimes as a student you assume the coursework is for the benefit of the lecturer. It's really for your benefit. So having that passion in what it is you know you're doing, or what it is that you want to end up in. You may be doing a degree in an area different from what you actually want to do. But whatever you want to do, you want to be a chef. Be a good chef. Be an excellent chef. You want to be a farmer. Be an excellent farmer. Go deep. And today we are fortunate that there's a lot of material. There's a lot of material online, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, even on your artificial intelligence platforms that you can engage in. Books, journals, content for mastery of your craft. And value is built when knowledge meets action. Volunteer. When there is opportunities for you to volunteer in an area where you have passion in, volunteer. Where there's opportunity for you to do some work and get some experience, please volunteer so that you're really good. It takes a long time for the brain to mature and for you to be a master in your craft. And there's an author called Malcolm Gladwell who wrote about the 10,000 hour rule. And the point was that for you to become really world class at something, you need to put in 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours means you need to put in 1,000 hours a year. So it's a lot of time every day for you to be really excellent at what you do. And many times we want to focus on the outcome, and nobody tells you what process it takes to be really good at what it is that you do. So for me, what I do, I have taken many hours of practice, of study, of reflection. The only time I'm not working really is when I'm asleep. When I'm awake and I'm not working, many times I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about the different things that we do. I'm thinking about how we can do it better. And when I'm at home, I'm working, and when I'm at home, sometimes I'm reading about different journals, different magazines, different books. I'm trying to really understand how it is that I can be better at what it is that I'm doing. And what you see is an end outcome. But nobody really tells you what process happens in between. So I want to encourage all of you, think very deeply about what you're passionate about and invest time in making sure that you're a master in your area. The eighth key, I think the seventh key, I think that is the sixth key. The seventh key is many of you will be approaching the job market soon. And even if you're not seeking to be employed, you're seeking to be self-employed. We are all employed by the customer. So the customer will be your employer. So ultimately, all of us are employed. If you're employed by the university is your customer. If you are in your business, you're in a services sector, you're a tailor, your customers are your employers. And I always see myself as somebody performing a professional service for my client. And you need to approach that relationship from the perspective of being a problem solver. And many people enter the job market or go seeking business opportunities, I think, from the wrong precept. And they ask, who will give me a job? And if you step back to the third key I spoke about around influence, you need to start from the perspective of the other person. What is their need? So rather than asking of who will give me a job, it's good to understand, what do I think this company's challenges and opportunities are, and how can I solve them? So to approach every engagement from a perspective of how can I solve your problem? How can I solve the problem of my customer? As opposed to how can the customer give me business? So you'll meet people saying, please support my business, as opposed to, this is how I can solve your problem. So when you start from the mindset of, I can see some comments about the voice. Is that, are you having a challenge with the voice? Can you hear me? Am I still audible?
Yes, yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. And if I am, just post some messages so that I can know I'm still engaging with you. Otherwise, sometimes it's lonely when you're doing this kind of webinar and you're not sure whether the audience is still with you. So some feedback will be welcome. Thank you very much for those who've posted some feedback. So think deeply about that company you want to work for, that boss you want to work for, that client you want to get. Engage your clients, understand what their issues are, and give a proposal. Thank you very much. I think I've gotten enough messages. Thank you very much. I've seen they are audible. Thank you very much. And frame it from a perspective of a proposal of how you can solve their problem. So I want to encourage all the people in this audience today that have listened to me, please don't apply for jobs. Don't apply for a job and put your CV and say, attached is my CV, I'm seeking a. Study the company and put together a proposal of how you can add value to the company or to the organization or to the client. Research the company, understand what their mission is, what their recent successes have been, praise them in your letter. People like to be appreciated. You're applying for a teaching opportunity at Machakos University. You're writing a letter, a proposal to the Vice Chancellor. Write a letter. It's a pleasure for me to engage with you. I am so and so. I've been watching your university. Machakos University has done well in these areas, in these areas, in these areas. However, I think there's an opportunity in this particular area, and I am very well suited to add value in that area. I would like to schedule a meeting with you at your earliest convenience to discuss how I can add value to your university. You're more likely to get appointment as opposed to writing and saying, I'm a PhD fellow and I'm seeking a job. Because then you've transferred the responsibility of determining what value you can add to your employer. That is a passive mindset. You need to be proactive. I remember when I graduated, when I got this internship where I started off in the filing room, I wanted to join this company. And I took about a week. I went through their annual report of Centum. I went through their documents. I did my research. I read newspaper interviews of the CEO, and I wrote a proposal. And in my proposal, I thanked him. I indicated what he had done well. I congratulated him. And then I said the areas where I think there's an opportunity for the company to do even better. And I was uniquely placed to add value in those areas. And I put together a capability statement, which is now a CV, to say this is how I am well suited to solve the problems of the company. And I dropped my proposal. And by evening, I had gotten a call to come for a meeting with the CEO. And in that meeting, I was a bit nervous, but we were discussing how I would solve this problem. He was intrigued by my views, and he asked me to start the following week. And he did not have a position. That's why he put me in the filing room. Now, if I'd applied for a job, I don't think I would even have secured a meeting, because they received so many job applications. And when you start working, when you get that opportunity, distinguish yourself by really adding value. There are many people who don't add value. There are many people who don't provide any solution. There are many people who get opportunities and they become a problem, and they become a liability to the company. I recall at some point when I was an accountant, that was my first job. After 1 year, when I went home for holiday, I looked at the profit and loss of the company, and I asked myself, what is your contribution to this P&L? And I could see my contribution on the expense line, but I could not see my contribution on the income line. And I said, this is the last year that I'm not making a contribution to the income line. Next year, I will find every opportunity to be a contributor to income. And I started spending more time with portfolio companies, trying to see what we could do to contribute to income. And in the evening, I'll do my work as an accountant. And within a short time, I was promoted to head a department. Again, because there's so few people who are focused on value addition, not performing a function. There's a difference between performing a function, which is, I'm an accountant, I generate accounts, I am writing code, that's a function. But deeply understanding how this organization creates value, how they make money, how they serve their customer, and saying, I now understand, I'm going to play a role. It does not matter what title I have, I'm going to play a role in adding value to the company. Once you start doing that, then you're very, very important and valuable to the leadership of that organization. And you become human risk, or a key human risk. If you leave, it's a problem for them. When you are a cost center, if you leave, the company has saved money. When you are a profit center, if you leave the organization, if you fall sick, the company has suffered a loss. And so they need you, and they need you more than them. If you're very valuable to your client and you're solving your client's problems, it means that if you're not there, the client is worse off. If the client is a source of business to you, then you're easily replaceable and your skills are easily transferable. But I want to circle back. You may want to be all those things. You may want to add value. But again, if you don't have the preceding keys, it will be very difficult. If you're not grounded in God, if you're not comfortable in who you are, if you cannot manage yourself, meaning you're not coming to work on time, you cannot get your tasks done on time, you're full of excuses, you cannot deal with other people, meaning you're quarreling with your colleagues and all manner of other things, or you don't have the expertise. So although you have the desire to add value, you don't have the ability, then it does not work. And that is why I've sequenced this talk in this particular sequence, because this is additive, it is cumulative. You need all the preceding keys to be able to build on the subsequent keys. And if you approach it that way, even if you don't get a job, then you'll have gained insights into different companies, you'll have gained insights into different clients, you'll be better placed to give a proposal to your next client. Even when a job, you'll be able to volunteer. A very important point I want to make is that the value you add is not a function of what you get paid. I remember when I started working, I used to earn 5,000 shillings. And I said, look, that's what I earn. But the value I'm going to give is the value that is in me. And that value is not a function of what I earn. I'm giving that value because of who I am. I'll give you an example. I'm the chancellor of your university, and chancellors earn an allowance. And I donated my allowance to the Chancellor Scholarship Fund. So I have not earned any money as an individual from my role as the Chancellor for the almost 9 years I've been a Chancellor of the university. But I give value not because of what I earn, but because of who I am and the value that is in me. And because I'm grounded in God, and this is my ministry, I'm not a pastor. My ministry is my profession. This is it, and this is where I am serving God's purpose and serving man. Then I endeavor to give as much value as I can. And that is the attitude and mindset you need to have when you go to the workplace. It does not matter what they are paying you. That is not relevant. What matters is what value you have. With time, you will earn a fraction of the value you generate. And if you're really good, you will never need to ask for a pay rise, because the value will be so self-evident that you'll continue to prosper. The eighth key, all this is not towards a selfish end. Let justice and charity guide you. As you rise, stay grounded. Treat people fairly, be kind, be generous. And your greatness is defined by how many people are better off because you lived or because you engaged with them. In whatever relationship you have, aim to be a plus and not a minus. Aim to bring real, tangible value to all those that you interact with, all those that you work with, all those that meet you. They should live better off having interacted with you. Once you're able to do that consistently, people and opportunity will seek you. You will not have to go and seek people and opportunities. Those will come to look for you. The ninth key, which is related to what I just spoke about, your income is a byproduct of the value you add. I see many people pursuing further studies to enhance their income. Further studies will not help you. You may do a master's, you may do a PhD. If all these things you have done don't tie down to what value you are adding, your income will not increase. So income is a byproduct. Don't pursue the income, pursue the value add, and the income will follow. Add value to your customers and be an expert in that field. Even if you are a tailor, even if you are a chef, even if you're a barman, even if you're a DJ, even if you're a musician, even if you're a tech person, if you are an accountant, if you are an agriculture expert, if you are an engineer, you are, people will come from far and wide. I attended a forum, had the privilege of attending a forum on Friday on the sidelines of the Rema feast, which was taking place at Uhuru Park. And there was a preacher called Apostle Joshua Selman, and he's not an old man. He was born in 1980s, about 45 years. And he attracts audiences of up to 100,000 people because he has value. And his income and his influence is a byproduct of the value he adds. And that value is a function of the investment he has made in himself over time. So I want to conclude. Success is not money or fame. Those are byproducts, in my view. It is a purpose. It is your personal growth that leads to the growth of others, and it is the impact that you have, and that for me is what is really success. It is not money, acquiring money as an end in itself. Just to give you another example, the 150 odd students or so that we have sponsored through this Chancellor Scholarship Fund gives me far greater utility than if I had gotten the money and used it to buy a watch, to buy shoes, to buy a car. Touching lives of men and women and knowing the power and the potential that one life can have in this world, and the impact. If you think of an Eliud Kipchoge, you think about the impact of a single human being, even a teacher, even your VC there, Joyce Ogalo, or anyone there, and think if that person has an opportunity, that opportunity for that person to touch the lives of many people, and which may transcend into many generations. That is what really counts. I was playing golf with a friend of mine this morning, and he told me about when he was looking for a scholarship or support in secondary school, and he visited somebody who was teaching at the University of Nairobi, and he asked for their support. And that person told him, when I was doing my wedding, your father was the only person with a vehicle in our village, and he carried my wife. And because of that, I will do anything for you. So that is impact, and the impact is generational. Maybe some of the needy students who have gotten this scholarship, maybe some of them may employ my children in the future, or you never know where we might meet later. Maybe some of them, maybe they might be a president there, maybe they might be a governor, maybe they might be somebody who rises and creates opportunities for thousands of people. I don't know. But in every situation is to work with the little that you have, with the opportunity that you have, to really develop your skill set, your attitude, your habits, to be able to use your time well so that you can have as much impact, have this opportunity that you have with the time God has given us. So I want to stop there and conclude there, and thank you for your very kind attention. It has been a pleasure to speak with you this evening, and I hope that this session has been of value to you in whatever small way, and that maybe you've picked up an area or two that you can go back and reflect on. And I will share these notes with Joyce, and who will circulate them to you. And I hope they'll be useful to you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Chancellor, for the presentation. It has been of great value, even to us who are already in employment or who are already having our own businesses. It is of great value. The 9 keys that you have shared, I think really go a long way, and they are not what we learn in class. It is what we can be able to only get from somebody who has experience like you, and also who is already in the sector where, as you say, we seek solutions, not challenges. Because as you rightly put, in our desk, we have many, many challenges. So you don't want another challenge being added to you. You would like to get somebody who can assist you to solve the challenges or the problems that you have on your table. So because of time, and as you've said, you are going to share the notes with us, we hope we will be able to have another opportunity to engage more with the students. And I would like to call the president to give a vote of thanks to the Chancellor, then we can be able to close from there. Ashley, Madam Ashley. Is the president with us? So if she's not there, can I get any student leader to give a vote of thanks?
Okay, thank you, Professor J. Sagalo, for this chance. I'm Augustine Moy, the Speaker of Congress. I want to take this chance to thank you, the Chancellor, Dr. James Moria, for the chance and the opportunity. Actually, we gained a lot of positive insights during this meeting. Now is upon us as students to actualize all the 9 keys in our academics, and also as we go there and seek jobs there in the job market. I think we are well armed, and we can, in the best of our abilities, know where to start, and know what the companies want, not to go and just dropping papers looking for jobs, but writing proposal and where we can maybe change. Actually, it was a very, very educating session. I thank the Chancellor for the opportunity, and I thank you all the management of the university for planning this event. I wish everyone was here, but we shall also inform those who are not around. Thank you once again, Madam Chancellor and the Chancellor, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Speaker. So with that, I would like again to appreciate our Chancellor for this opportunity to share with the students and also a few members of staff who joined. Chancellor, we appreciate your time, and we apologize for the technical itch that we encountered initially. And as you have said, with a positive attitude, we take it as a learning experience, and we will be able to improve next time we hold such a meeting. So with those remarks, I would like to say thank you very much to each one of us for attending. And please let us take this as learning points for us and implement. We have been told we should not procrastinate and say we will do, but we will say next time I have been able to implement and do the following out of the session that we had with the Chancellor. So thank you very much, and God bless all of you. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure for me to be with you this evening. And I would like to thank the management of the university, led by the Vice Chancellor, for organizing this particular session. It's also an opportunity for me to share. And I always pray to God that every day gives me an opportunity to be a witness of his work, and having such opportunities gives me that very opportunity that I've prayed for. So thank you very much, and I wish you all the best and God's blessings in all your endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Aman.
you